I gave my daughter a small cafe so she could start a new life full of dreams and independence. But when I arrived, she was crying, forced by her mother-in-law to do the dirtiest work for free while she laughed and took everything. The betrayal by those closest to me hit me like a knife. But I acted quickly, and this injustice will turn into revenge that'll change everything, leaving no stone unturned. Before we continue, please subscribe to this channel and write in the comments what time it is where you are now. The bells above morning roast jingled when I pushed through the glass door. Burnt coffee hit my nose first, then something sour from the kitchen. Wrong. All wrong. Then I saw her, my daughter Sophie, on her knees in the bathroom doorway, door propped open for the whole world to see, scrubbing tile grout with a toothbrush. Her face was red, wet. She wiped at her eyes with the back of one hand, kept scrubbing with the other. "Sophie, you missed a spot." Again, the voice came from behind the counter, sharp, sweet as artificial sweetener. A woman in her early 60s sat at the register like it was a throne. Silver hair, perfect designer glasses on a chain. Nora Foster, my daughter's mother-in-law, in the cafe I bought for Sophie 3 months ago with every penny I had. Sophie's head jerked up. Our eyes met. Hers went wide, panicked. "Dad?" "Arthur!" Nora's smile could have sold insurance. "What a lovely surprise. We weren't expecting you. My jaw tightened. I came to see my daughter and her cafe. "Our cafe, dear. Sophie and I are partners now." Nora tilted her head. "Didn't she tell you?" The toothbrush fell from Sophie's hand, clattered on tile. "Hi, Dad. Sorry, I'm just—" Her voice cracked. "Finishing something." Partners. The word sat in my chest like spoiled meat. I'd spent 35 years as a health inspector, knew when something was rotting. Tyler sat in the corner, Sophie's husband, Nora's son, laptop open, eyes down. He shifted in his seat when I looked at him, but didn't speak. One customer in the whole place, an older woman at the window table. She stared into her coffee like it held answers. "Let me help you, honey." I reached for the toothbrush. "Oh, no." Nora stood, smoothed her skirt. "She needs to understand proper cleaning standards. The health inspector was very clear last month." My hand stopped. What health inspector? Nora waved dismissively. "Just routine. Sophie had a few oversights. We fixed everything." Her smile widened. "Oh, you'd know about that, wouldn't you? Your old profession." The coffee machine hissed behind the counter. Steam rose. I counted to 5. "Tyler," I turned to my son-in-law, "how's work treating you?" He barely looked up. "Fine, Dad. Busy." "He's been such a help here," Nora answered for him. "Managing the finances, dealing with suppliers. Someone needs to handle the serious work." "I can handle—" Sophie started. "Sweetheart, we've discussed this. Stick to what you're good at." Nora's voice dripped honey. "The baking." Sophie's hands curled into fists. She stood, grabbed a rag, moved to the nearest table, started wiping in circles, fast circles. I ordered coffee from Nora, not from my daughter. Had to. She poured it with theatrical precision. "Tell me what you think of our blend. I've made some improvements to the sourcing." Our improvements? Every word was a tiny knife. The coffee was weak, bitter, wrong temperature. I'd shut down a restaurant for less. "Delicious," I said. My hand shook when I raised the cup. Coffee sloshed, spilled on the counter. Nora's eyes tracked the movement. Something flickered in her expression. Satisfaction, maybe. She pulled a towel under the counter, wiped the spill with exaggerated care. "No worries, Arthur. Accidents happen." I wanted to grab that towel, wanted to— Deep breath, count to 10 this time. The woman at the window table stood, left without finishing her coffee. The bell jangled behind her. "I'd love to see the partnership papers," I said, voice steady, casual. "Business documents? So boring." Nora laughed. "Tyler handles all that legal stuff. Isn't that right, honey?" Tyler nodded, said nothing. 35 years I'd inspected restaurants, watched owners lie, watched them squirm, watched them try every trick in the book. I knew guilt. I knew deception. I knew when I was looking at both. "Well," I set down my cup, "I should let you ladies get back to work." "Oh, we're always working," Nora beamed. "Running a successful business takes constant attention, Constant. But that's what family does, right? We support each other. I looked at Sophie. She stood at the far table, rag in hand, staring at nothing. Right? I said. The bells jangled when I left, gentler this time, or maybe my ears were ringing too loud to tell. I drove home, 20 minutes through Portland traffic, mind racing, hands tight on the wheel. Around 7, my doorbell rang. Sophie stood in my apartment hallway, eyes red. She walked in without speaking, sat on my couch, pulled her knees to her chest. "I told her I was picking up supplies," she whispered. I sat beside her, waited. The dam broke. "Dad, I'm so sorry. I didn't want to tell you. I was ashamed." Ashamed of what? "She said she'd help with startup costs, said it was a family investment, made it sound so generous. Then the papers. There was so much legal language. The lawyer said, I can't forget what the lawyer said." My voice came out cold, flat. "I'll fix this." "Dad, she's got money connections, and Sophie," I took her hands. "Look at me." She did. "I spent 35 years closing down restaurants that broke the rules." I squeezed her hands. "I'll fix this fast." She left after 10, sneaking back like a teenager breaking curfew. I sat in the dark. The partnership documents lay on my coffee table, 51 pages of legal theft. My eyes drifted to the shelf. Between my vintage sanitation posters, "Wash Your Hands, Save Lives" from 1952, sat a small leather wallet. I hadn't opened it in 3 years. My hand reached almost by itself. Inside, my old ID badge, Senior Health Inspector, Oregon Health Authority. The photo showed a younger me, more hair, less gray, same eyes that shut down 43 restaurants in my career. I ran my thumb over the embossed seal. A smile crept across my face. Not a nice smile. The badge sat on my nightstand when I woke. Habit kicked in. Early mornings, decades of them. 6 a.m. sharp. I showered, dressed carefully. Khakis, button-down shirt, comfortable shoes. Inspector casual. Muscle memory is funny. Hadn't worn this combination in 3 years. My reflection showed someone different from yesterday's shocked father. This man had a plan. The cafe opened at 7. I got there at 7:30. Sophie stood behind the counter alone, dark circles under her eyes. She jumped when the bell rang. "Dad, what are you—" "Black coffee, please." I spoke loud enough for the 2 customers at separate tables. "And one of those cinnamon rolls." Her eyes flickered, understanding. "Right. Yes, 1 coffee, 1 roll coming up." I took the corner table, unfolded the Oregonian, glanced at headlines I didn't read. My real attention was on operations. The refrigerator door hung open. 20 seconds, 30 seconds, temperature abuse. Sophie grabbed milk, closed it finally. No thermometer visible on the outside. Red flag. Dairy products sat near the prep area, too close to where she'd just cut vegetables. Cross-contamination risk. No date stickers on opened containers. Violation of OAR 333-150. Her phone sat on the prep counter. Contamination vector. I'd seen enough in 10 minutes to cite 5 violations. My coffee arrived. I thanked her. She hurried away. 35 years I did this. The same way a carpenter sees load-bearing walls, I saw health code violations. Automatic, unavoidable. "Arthur, becoming a regular already." Nora appeared from the back. Fresh makeup, fresh smile. She pulled out the chair across from me, uninvited. "See, I told Sophie, good coffee sells itself." The place seems different from last time. I sipped my coffee. Still weak, still wrong temperature. New systems? Absolutely. Nora leaned forward, eager. "I've implemented several efficiency measures, reduced waste, optimized inventory, streamlined operations. Small businesses fail because of overspending on unnecessary things, such as premium dairy for one. The generic brand is half the price. Customers can't tell the difference." Optimize, corporate speak for cheap out. I'd shut down a restaurant for serving expired milk once. Apparently, in Nora's world, expired is just another optimization opportunity. Mental note, check the walk-in fridge date labels if they existed. "Smart," I said. "Thank you. Tyler and I have been reviewing every expense line. He's got such a head for numbers." Tyler arrived then, nodded at me, sat at his usual corner table, headphones on before his laptop even opened. The morning rush started. 3 customers became 5. Sophie moved between counter and tables. Nora stayed planted at the register. "No, no, no!" Nora's voice cut through the cafe buzz. She crossed to where Sophie wiped a table. "Circular motions, watch!" She grabbed the cloth from Sophie's hand, demonstrated, slow, deliberate, like teaching a child. "See, no streaks. It's not complicated." I was doing it that way. Were you? Because 3 customers mentioned streaky tables yesterday. 3. Do you know what that does to our reputation? 2 customers at nearby tables shifted, uncomfortable. Tyler looked up. "Mom, maybe—" "Tyler, please, I'm training her. Someone has to." 35 years I'd inspected restaurants. Never once did I check if tables were wiped in circles or straight lines. Know why? Because it doesn't matter. But control matters to people like Nora. Control is the point. "Excuse me," I stood. "Could I use the bathroom?" "Of course," Nora beamed. "Down the hall. We keep everything very clean. Arthur would approve, wouldn't you, Arthur, given your background?" I walked past the counter. The bathroom hallway gave me a perfect view of the kitchen pass-through. Cleaning chemicals stored on the shelf next to dry goods. Violation. Mop sink too close to hand-washing sink. Another violation. I took 3 photos with my phone. Quick, subtle. The bathroom itself was clean. Sophie's work, I'd bet. But the hand-washing station had a crack in the sink basin. Minor, but citable. 4 more photos. When I returned, Nora had taken my seat. Literally, she sat in my chair, looking at my newspaper. "You know what section I love?" She didn't wait for an answer. "Business. I read it every morning. Understanding market trends is crucial for success." I'm sure it is. Nora never reads it. No head for business, that girl. Sweet, but— Nora trailed off, let the silence finish her sentence. I pulled out my wallet, left a 20 on the table. Coffee and roll were maybe $6. "Keep the change, Sophie." Nora's hand shot out, took the 20, smiled at me while she counted it, pocketed it. "How generous. We'll put it toward new equipment. The espresso machine needs repairs." Sophie stood by the counter, staring. I left without looking back. Home, laptop, 3 hours reviewing Oregon Administrative Rules, Chapter 333, the health code I'd memorized decades ago. Some things had changed, most hadn't. My notebook filled with violations. I'd observed temperature control failure, cross-contamination risks, improper date labeling, chemical storage violations, equipment maintenance issues. All minor individually, together, different story. Around 6, I called Danny Clark, 40 years in the health authority. We'd trained together, worked together, closed down the Morrison Street Bistro in 6 hours flat. He picked up on the 3rd ring. "Arthur Patterson, 3 years retired and suddenly calling about health code violations. What's the occasion?" "Can't an old friend check in?" His laugh barked through the phone. "You never checked in once in 3 years. Spill it. Who screwed up?" Hypothetically, I leaned back in my chair. Small cafe, new ownership, several OAR 333 violations, temperature control, date labeling, cross-contamination risks. Hypothetically, his tone shifted, professional. "That's 3 citable offenses. How bad?" "Bad enough, but the owner's confident, thinks rules don't apply." "Those are always my favorite, the confident ones." Danny's smile came through the phone. We talked for an hour about nothing, about everything, about the old days. "You know what, Arthur? I miss working with you. The department's different now. Younger guys, all about computers and risk assessments. Nobody's got that instinct anymore, that feel for when something's wrong." I pulled open my old filing cabinet, the one I'd kept from my office. 43 years of contacts, inspectors, supervisors, department heads, people who owed me favors, people I'd trained, people who remembered when Senior Inspector Patterson shut down that bistro in 6 hours flat. Martinez, Chen, O'Donnell. My finger traced down the pages. "Danny," I said, voice soft, "someone's about to get a refresher course on Oregon Administrative Rules, Chapter 333. Time to see if Nora Foster really understands what business optimization means." I hung up. In the silence of my apartment, I whispered 5 words to the empty room. "Welcome to my world, Nora." 2 days after I'd whispered that threat into my empty apartment, I sat at my kitchen table surrounded by paper. Not just any paper, 35 years of accumulated knowledge, Oregon Health Code violation checklists, complaint form templates. My coffee had gone cold, hadn't noticed. The filing cabinet in the corner stood open. Contact lists, inspection protocols, enforcement procedures. Everything I'd promised myself I'd forget in retirement. Funny how it all comes rushing back when you need it. I pulled up the Oregon Health Authority's website, official complaint form, right there in the public portal. Simple, clean, bureaucratic. But I didn't just fill it out, I crafted it. Every word chosen to trigger red flags. Multiple violations observed, cross-contamination risks, temperature abuse of potentially hazardous foods, repeated concerns from vulnerable populations, magic phrases, the kind that bump a complaint from routine follow-up to immediate inspection. I'd written 3,000 inspection reports in my career. This one felt different, better, more personal. My yellow legal pad sat next to the laptop, 4 stages outlined in my cramped handwriting. Stage 1, health inspection. Stage 2, social reputation damage. Stage 3, legal action. Stage 4, financial consequences. Stage 1 was almost ready, just needed the final pieces. My burner phone ad, downloaded the night before, paid account, untraceable to my main number, sat open on my phone. I dialed Sophie. She answered on the first ring. "Hello, Dad? Honey, you alone?" Silence. Then, "Tyler is at his mother's." "Dad, what's going on?" "Listen carefully." I kept my voice level. "Tomorrow when you close, I need you to forget a few things. The date labels on the dairy, don't replace them. That temperature log by the walk-in, maybe you're too tired to fill it in." Long pause. "You're setting her up." "I'm letting the truth show itself." I gripped the phone tighter. "Will you help me?" Her voice dropped to a whisper. "What time should I expect truth?" "Day after tomorrow, mid-morning. You'll know when." After we hung up, I stared at my laptop screen. The complaint form was complete. Perfect. Devastating. My finger hovered over the submit button. This was it. Once I clicked this, I'd be using 35 years of professional knowledge to target my own daughter's business. Sure, Nora created the violations. Nora cut corners, endangered customers. But Sophie's name was on the license. Her cafe. Her dream. The one I'd bought with every penny I had. I remembered her face on her knees, scrubbing grout with a toothbrush, crying. Click. Submit. The coffee shop Wi-Fi made the upload smooth. I'd driven to a Starbucks blocks away at 3 in the morning. Paranoid, maybe, but complaints were logged with timestamps and IP addresses. Back home, I opened my email. Confirmation from OHA. Your complaint has been received and assigned reference number 2025 PDX 11847. Stage 1 in motion. Late afternoon, my phone rang. Danny's name on the screen. "You still up?" "Yeah, sure, you are. Tell me." Pulled up the complaint. "Arthur, you manipulative bastard," he laughed. "You wrote it like a textbook example, hit every trigger phrase we have. Vulnerable populations, that's code red for us. I mentioned elderly customers and young children. Exactly, makes it high risk, automatic priority response." Papers rustled on his end. "Complaints flagged, should get assigned to a team within 48 hours. Should, will. I'm monitoring it personally, not because you asked, because the complaint warrants it. Everything by the book, Arthur. I'm not breaking protocol. Your complaint just happens to be perfectly written. You trained me well." "Yeah, I did." His voice softened. "But Arthur, stay away from the scene when it happens. You can't be anywhere near morning roast that day, if there's any connection between you and the inspection." "I understand." "Do you? Because Nora sounds like the type to ask questions. Why now? Why this timing? You visited her cafe recently, right? As a customer, as a father. That's what you tell her if she asks. Nothing more."
"Got it," I promised. Meant it. Mostly. Evening came. I opened my laptop, riding the high of my complaint submission. Stage 1 was working. I could feel it. The Google review page for Morning Roast stared back at me. 43 reviews. Average 4.2 stars. Most were positive, a few complaints about service speed, nothing about sanitation. Time to change that. I created a new Google account, Philip Henderson. I'd pulled the name from a random generator website. Apparently, the 47th most common male name combination in America. Perfect. Generic, forgettable. Profile picture stolen from a stock photo site. Middle-aged white guy, slight smile, blue shirt. Could be anyone. Could be everyone. Philip Henderson, concerned citizen and absolute fiction. The review wrote itself. 1 star, professional but concerned. Disappointed by apparent lack of attention to sanitation standards. Observed concerning practices during recent visit. Hope management takes food safety more seriously. My cursor hovered over post. Should I use a VPN proxy server? No, overthinking it. Just a review from a fake account with a fake name and a fake photo. Clicked post. 11:47 p.m. The review appeared instantly. I leaned back, satisfied. 2 strategic strikes in 1 day. The complaint, official and devastating. The review, public and damaging. 35 years I'd filed inspection reports. Never once had I enjoyed it this much. My laptop chimed. Video call incoming. Finn's face filled the screen. Berlin apartment behind him. Dad, you look different. Focused. I'm fixing what needs fixing. Does Sophie know your plan? She knows enough, not everything. Finn leaned closer to his camera. And the legal side? Is it? Everything I'm doing is legal. I'm just making sure the law does its job. He nodded slowly. Dad, I'm transferring $5,000 to your account tomorrow morning. Don't argue. You spent your retirement on Sophie's dream. Let me help protect it. My throat tightened. You're a good son, Finn. Learned from a good father. His smile was fierce. Now go get her. After we hung up, I sat in the dark. Finn's support steadied me, made this feel less like revenge, more like justice. It wasn't just about money anymore. It was about dignity and reclaiming the pride my daughter had lost. My phone buzzed, past midnight. Danny again. It's done. No preamble. Day after tomorrow at 10 a.m. Martinez and Chen. They're the best we have. Thorough, fair, by the book. They'll find everything that's findable. Danny, don't thank me. I didn't do anything except let the system work exactly as designed. You wrote a textbook perfect complaint. It got the response it deserved. He paused. Arthur, stay away from morning roast that day. You hear me? If Nora suspects any connection, I understand, but I knew myself. I'd spent 35 years watching inspections unfold. I wouldn't miss this one. After we hung up, I sat listening to Portland's rain against my window. Stage 1 almost complete. 48 hours until Nora Foster learned what 3 decades of health inspection experience looked like when aimed at her. My phone glowed. 1 new notification. Google alert. Someone had replied to my Philip Henderson review. I opened it expecting nothing. Nora, her verified business account. The reply was public, visible to everyone. We take all customer concerns seriously and would appreciate the opportunity to discuss your experience. Please contact us directly at your earliest convenience. We pride ourselves on exceeding all health and safety standards. Professional, appropriate, and underneath a threat. I'm watching. I see you. I will find you. Should have felt worried. Instead, I smiled. Let her watch. Let her waste energy chasing Philip Henderson's ghost. I had bigger problems lined up for her. Problems with badges and clipboards and the full force of Oregon Administrative Rules, Chapter 333. 2 days crawled like wounded animals. I cleaned my apartment twice, reorganized my vintage sanitation poster collection, called Finn to discuss Berlin weather of all things, anything to burn time. The morning of the inspection, I woke at 5. Couldn't help it. Decades of early morning inspections had programmed my internal clock. By 9:30, I'd violated Danny's instructions. Been there, small cafe across Morrison Street from morning roast. Perfect sightline through both establishments' windows. I ordered a cappuccino, made myself comfortable at the corner table. "What temperature do you keep your milk?" I asked the barista. She laughed. "That's a weird question. 40 degrees? The manager's obsessed with the thermometer, checks it like 5 times a day." Good manager. The cappuccino arrived. Perfect microfoam, heated to exactly 150 degrees if I'd bet money. The irony of drinking properly prepared coffee while waiting to watch morning roast get cited for temperature violations. Sometimes life has a sense of humor, usually a dark one. 10 o'clock sharp. White Oregon Health Authority sedan pulled up. 2 inspectors emerged. Woman with clipboard, Martinez. I recognized her from training sessions years ago. Man with digital thermometer visible on his belt, Chen. Younger, methodical, all business, no social niceties. Through Nora's front window, I watched her expression shift. Welcoming smile, then confusion, then concern. Martinez showed her badge. I couldn't hear the words, but I'd said them 1,000 times. Oregon Health Authority, routine inspection. Nora's smile got bigger, welcoming. She thought this was a formality. Martinez didn't smile back. Professionals never do. Chen moved toward the kitchen. Nora's hand fluttered up, trying to redirect him. Her gesture said, "Let me show you around." Chen ignored her. Also professional. Never let the owner control the inspection route. I took another sip of excellent cappuccino. This was what justice tasted like. Turned out it tasted like properly steamed milk and other people's panic. Martinez spread out at the front counter, checking temperatures, opening containers. Chen disappeared into the kitchen. Sophie stood frozen by the espresso machine. Tyler sat in the corner, laptop open, headphones on, deliberately oblivious. 40 minutes later, the inspectors emerged from the kitchen. Even from across the street, I could see Nora's face had gone pale. She was talking fast, gesturing, pointing at Sophie, at the kitchen, at the inspection report in Martinez's hand. The universal language of, "This isn't my fault, it's her fault." Martinez's face stayed flat as concrete. I trained her well. Never react to the show, just write up the violations. Through the window, I watched Nora's performance like it was Netflix. Better than Netflix. This had real consequences. Her face went from concerned business owner to, "I need to speak to the manager," to full Karen nuclear option in about 6 minutes. Martinez handed her papers, official forms, yellow copies. Nora snatched them, started reading. Her expression transformed. Rage. Pure rage. She wheeled on Sophie. Even through closed windows, I could tell she was screaming. 2 customers grabbed their coats, left hurriedly. Tyler pulled off his headphones, looked up, did nothing. Cowardice personified. The inspectors left, professional, unmoved. They'd seen the show before. I finished my cappuccino, left cash on the table, walked to my car 3 blocks away. Home. 20 minutes through traffic. My hands shook on the wheel. Stage 1 complete. Late afternoon, my burner app rang. Sophie. "Dad, I can't talk. She's—" Nora's voice in the background. "Who are you calling?" "Nobody, just—" Call disconnected. I stared at my phone, texted instead. "You did perfect. Stay strong. This isn't over." Response came an hour later. "She's blaming me for everything. Says the business ruined. Tyler won't defend me. Dad, I'm scared." I poured whiskey. Neat. 2 fingers. Drank it. Finn called around 6. "How did it go?" $2,500 fine. Written warning, 30-day follow-up inspection scheduled. "That's huge. Dad, you did it. Stage 1 complete." "Yeah, it worked. Maybe too well." What do you mean? Nora's smart. She's going to ask questions. Why now? Why this timing? But you filed anonymously. There's no connection. I hope you're right. 5 minutes later, my phone rang. Unknown number. I answered. Nora's voice. Ice cold. Arthur, not Dad. Formal. Cold. We need to talk. My stomach dropped. Nora, can I help you with something? Don't play innocent. It's insulting to both of us.
Silence. My mouth went dry. We need to talk face to face, tonight, or I go to the police with harassment evidence tomorrow morning. Your choice. My apartment, 1 hour. See you then, Arthur. She hung up. I sat on my couch, phone still warm in my hand. Felt something I hadn't felt in 40 years of restaurant inspections. Fear. Not abstract fear. Real, concrete fear. Nora had evidence, a lawyer, resources. She could frame this as harassment, stalking, interference with business. The Google review, my own stupid Google review, was proof I'd targeted her establishment. What if I had miscalculated? What if protecting Sophie meant destroying myself? I was 70 years old, no savings left, living on Social Security and a modest pension. One lawsuit could wipe me out. My apartment, my dignity, everything. My hand shook as I poured another whiskey. Then my phone buzzed. Text from Sophie. Dad, she knows you helped me somehow. She's coming for you. I'm so sorry. This is my fault. I read it 3 times. My fault, she said. No. I drank the whiskey. Put the glass down hard enough to crack it. This was Nora's fault. She'd stolen from my daughter, humiliated her, turned her dream into a nightmare. I didn't start this war. I just wasn't going to lose it. The silence in the room was deafening, broken only by the hum of the refrigerator. 20 minutes until Nora arrived. I paced between kitchen and living room, wearing a path in my cheap carpet. I pulled out the partnership documents. 51 pages. 51 pages of illegal theft. My phone buzzed. Text from unknown number. I'm parking. Bring coffee. This will take a while. Oh, the audacity! I didn't make coffee. The knock came exactly 1 hour after her call. Firm. 3 times. Official. I opened the door. Nora stood in my hallway, wearing a cream-colored suit and pearls like she was attending a board meeting. Silver hair perfect, makeup perfect, smile sharp enough to cut glass. Behind her stood a man in his 50s, gray suit, leather briefcase. He extended his hand. Mr. Patterson, I'm Richard Donovan, Ms. Foster's attorney. Thank you for agreeing to meet with us. Us? She'd brought her lawyer. Come in. I stepped back, though I didn't agree to anything. You threatened me, and I'm curious why. Nora swept past me, scanning my apartment like she was assessing property value. The lawyer followed, setting his briefcase on my coffee table, the same table where I'd planned this entire revenge. She turned to face me. Smile disappeared. Arthur, let's stop playing games. I know you filed that health complaint. I know you posted that Google review. I know you're trying to destroy my business. Your business? I let the words hang. Interesting choice. Yes, my business. The one I saved from your daughter's incompetence. The one you're now sabotaging. She pulled out her phone, tapped it, turned the screen toward me. Philip Henderson's review, posted from your IP address at 11:47 p.m., 2 days before the inspection. Want to explain that? The lawyer opened his briefcase, pulled out papers, placed them on my coffee table with practiced precision. Mr. Patterson, you're looking at a harassment claim, intentional interference with business operations, and defamation. Ms. Foster is prepared to file. I laughed. Couldn't help it. Nora's eyes narrowed. You think this is funny? I think you came into my home to threaten me with lawyers. I picked up the partnership documents from my coffee table, held them up. Want to talk about illegal activity? Let's discuss fraud, coercion, theft by deception. Those documents are legitimate, are they? Because the Oregon Secretary of State website shows you filed LLC paperwork 3 weeks before the partnership conversation. Premeditation. That's interesting timing, don't you think? The lawyer looked at Nora. Ms. Foster, you didn't mention. Because it's lies, she snapped. He's making it up. Public records.
Anyone can look them up. I've already sent screenshots to my son and to a lawyer friend, just in case something happens to me." The room went quiet. Nora stared at me. For the first time since I'd met her, she looked uncertain. Then her phone rang. She glanced at it. Expression shifted. Confusion, then alarm. "What? When? How many?" She listened. "I'll be right there." Hung up, looked at me with something close to hatred. Someone just posted photos on Facebook. The health inspection, the violations list, the fine. Portland Foodies Group, 12,000 members. They're destroying us. I kept my face neutral. Inside, I was thinking, stage 2. I didn't plan that one, but I'll take it. Nora grabbed her purse. "This isn't over." "No," I agreed. "It's not. But Nora, that Google review, that's the least of your problems. You started a war with someone who spent 35 years shutting down people who broke the rules. I'm just getting started." She left, lawyer scrambling after her. I closed the door, leaned against it. My hands were shaking. Stage 1 complete. Her confidence shaken. Next move, hers, and I had no idea what it would be. My phone buzzed. Text from unknown number. "Dad, it wasn't me who posted the photos, but thank you to whoever did. S." If it wasn't Sophie and it wasn't me, then who? The apartment door closed behind Nora and her lawyer. I stood there, back against it, heart hammering. Stage 1 had worked. The inspection, the fine, the Facebook post going viral. But Nora wasn't retreating. She was escalating. And the mystery Facebook post, someone else was in this game, someone I didn't know about. That should have worried me more than it did. I poured another whiskey. This one I actually drank. Wait, voices in the hallway. I opened my door. Quiet. Peered out. Donovan waited for the elevator with his back to me, checking his phone. Nora stood apart, pulling out her cell. I stayed in my doorway, out of sight. Hallway acoustics are funny things. Her voice carried. "No, don't worry about Patterson. He's made his little health complaint, feeling powerful. But the transfer documents are almost complete. 1 more month and Morning Roast will be entirely mine, legally and permanently." My breath stopped.
Oregon's a one-party consent state. Elena's eyebrows rose. "You've been researching?" 35 years as a health inspector, I know recording laws. If Sophie records conversations she's part of, it's legal evidence. Exactly, Elena smiled. So we need Sophie to provoke Nora into admitting the fraud on record. She'll do it? She'll do it. Are you sure? Because if Nora discovers the recording, my daughter spent months being humiliated by this woman. She'll do it. I called Danny. I need tech help. Someone who knows recording devices, discreet, legal, today. Pause. My nephew Oliver, IT security. 3 hours later, I met Oliver Clark at a coffee shop. Danny's nephew, 24, IT security specialist. Hoodie, laptop bag, energy drink instead of coffee. Uncle Danny said you need recording equipment. He pulled out a small device, Sony ICD PX470. Looks like a cafe order tracker, right? Clips to an apron. 44 hours recording time, voice activated. I took it. And it's legal? Oregon's a one-party consent state. If she's participating, she can record it. Totally legal. What if Nora finds it? Oliver grinned. Generic looking. Worst case, your daughter says it's for tracking orders. Young people are so easy to please. Give them a chance to explain gadgets and they'll help you commit legal-adjacent surveillance for free. That afternoon, I opened my laptop. Proton mail account, anonymous, encrypted. Subject, disturbing story about exploitation in family business, Morning Roast Cafe. I wrote carefully. Miss Price, I'm writing anonymously because I fear retaliation. Morning Roast Cafe on Morrison Street. You may remember it for excellent cinnamon rolls. The owner, Sophie Patterson Foster, is being systematically exploited by her mother-in-law, Nora Foster. Nora pressured Sophie into signing away majority control, now treats her like unpaid labor, takes all profits, publicly humiliates her. Recent health inspection revealed violations Nora created. Someone needs to tell this story. Hit send, before I could second guess. 3 days crawled by.
Sophie wore the recorder clipped to her apron, captured hours of Nora's demeaning commands, cutting remarks, constant criticism, pattern of abuse evidence. Day 4, mid-afternoon, slow period. Tyler had just left for a meeting. Nora counted the register. Sophie approached. Recorder active. "Nora, can I ask you something?" "What?" Nora didn't look up. "I've been thinking about the partnership, about the cafe. Will it ever really be mine again, the way Dad intended?" Nora paused, looked up, amused. "Yours? Sophie, sweetie, when was it ever yours? Your father threw away his retirement on a business you couldn't manage. I salvaged it. This cafe works because of me." "But legally, I still own part of it, right?" Nora laughed, cold. "Legally? Stupid girl. This cafe is already mine. The papers you signed, they transfer full ownership. Your father just doesn't know it yet. Another month, and it's final. You'll be an employee if I'm generous enough to keep you." Silence on the recording. Sophie, genuinely shocked. "And there's nothing your father can do about it. His little health inspection tantrum cost me $2,500. I'll make that back in a week." That evening, we listened in Elena's office. Me, Sophie, Elena, Oliver. When the gap hit, Elena's face fell. "Wait, it cut out." Oliver examined the device. "Power interruption. The clip must have loosened. I'm sorry." "Of course it did," I laughed, slightly hysterical. "Of course, because nothing in this plan could go smoothly." Elena cleared her throat. "It's still usable, but with that gap, a defense attorney could argue context is missing, so we need more." We need more. 2 nights later, Sophie called late evening, voice shaking. "Dad, I heard Tyler on the phone with his mother. He said he chose her over me. Come over, now." "The guest room is yours." She arrived 30 minutes later. 1 suitcase, red eyes. "Tell me." "He was on the phone with Nora. I wasn't supposed to hear. She was yelling about someone asking questions, some food blogger. Tyler kept saying he'd handle it. Then Nora must have accused him of being weak because he said, 'I chose you over her. I'm with you. I've always been with you.'" "What did you say?" "I told him to leave, told him we were done. He tried to explain, but there's nothing to explain. He chose his mother over his wife. Simple as that." My phone pinged. Email address I didn't recognize. pdxfoodscheme247@gmail.com. Subject, morning roast situation. I opened it. "Mr. Patterson, I'm guessing. I received your message. I'm Olivia Price. I remember Sophie. I remember her cinnamon rolls and her smile. I did some digging, talked to regulars. Something's really wrong at Morning Roast. I want to hear Sophie's side. My article publishes in 3 days." Olivia. 3 days. I hadn't expected her to move this fast. I responded, "Thank you. I can arrange a meeting. Sophie's ready, but we need discretion. The people exploiting her have resources." Her response came within minutes. "I can and will. This story matters. Portland supports its own. Tell Sophie I've got her back." I closed the laptop, looked at Sophie on my couch, suitcase at her feet. "Marriage ended? There's a food blogger who wants to hear your story. Article publishes in 3 days. Will it help?" "It'll make the health inspection look like a parking ticket." She almost smiled. "Good." I pulled up the evidence log, added entries. Recorded admission from Nora Foster. Partial confession. 10-second gap but substantial incriminating statements. Tyler Foster chose mother over wife. Sophie, witness, marriage ending. Social support system secured. Social media investigation initiated. Public opinion campaign beginning. We were building a case, piece by piece. Stage 2, in motion. Stage 3, coming in 72 hours. My phone glowed with Olivia's last message. Portland supports its own. I smiled. Not a nice smile. Nora thought she'd won, thought she had everything locked down. She was about to learn what happens when you underestimate a father protecting his daughter and a daughter who's finally done being the victim. 3 days later, I sat at my kitchen table with Sophie, watching her laptop screen refresh. Olivia's article had gone live at 6 a.m. By 6:30, 200 shares. By 7, 800. By the time we finished our coffee, around 8, we'd stopped counting. The title sat at the top in bold letters. The Dark Side of Morning Roast, a story of financial abuse and family exploitation. Below it, Sophie's story. Not anonymous. She'd insisted on using her real name. "People need to know it's real," she'd said. "I'm done hiding." I've been proud of her courage. Now, watching the numbers climb, I wondered if I'd prepared her for what came next. Internet justice moves fast, and it's never neat. "Listen to this one," Sophie read. "I used to go to Morning Roast weekly until I saw how the owner treated her daughter-in-law. Never going back. Sophie deserves better." It has 847 likes. Keep reading. "That woman Nora is exactly the kind of toxic person who ruins small businesses. I witnessed Nora screaming at Sophie for dropping a spoon." A spoon? The comments kept coming. Hundreds, then thousands. By noon, Morning Roast's Google reviews were flooded. 1 star, 1 star, 1 star. People posted photos of themselves at other cafes. Hashtags support Sophie and boycott Morning Roast. My phone rang. "Danny? Arthur, you crazy bastard. It's working. Everyone's talking about it." "That's the problem. Everyone's talking." "No, that's the solution. Public opinion is a weapon. You just fired it." He was right, but weapons have consequences. That afternoon, Nora posted a response. Official Morning Roast account. Sophie read it aloud. "Morning Roast management wishes to address recent defamatory allegations." "Management?" I said. "She's calling herself management of your cafe?" "Claims made are one-sided and omit crucial context. Morning Roast was facing financial insolvency when Miss Foster invested capital to save it." Sophie scrolled. Oh no, the comments. What are they saying? Top comment has 400 likes. Found Nora's burner account. Next one. "This is exactly the gaslighting described in the article." She was making it worse for herself. Good, let her dig deeper. Around 4 p.m. my phone buzzed. Text from Sophie. "Dad, turn on TikTok. Search Morning Roast." The video had 120,000 views. Nora, red-faced, screaming at Sophie in the cafe while customers recorded. "You leaked this. You told that blogger lies about me." Sophie stood quietly, calm, while Nora unraveled. The comments were brutal, creative, hilarious. She's giving strong, "I want to speak to the manager" energy, except she is the manager, and the manager is screaming at the owner. I screenshotted that one for posterity. That evening, my email pinged. Unknown sender. Subject, "Your past." I opened it. "Mr. Patterson, I've learned interesting information about your employment history, specifically your termination from County Health Inspection in 1999 for conflict of interest and ethical violations. My silence costs $20,000 cash. Instructions will follow. Or Portland Sentinel receives a full dossier on your fraudulent..." I drank the third whiskey, then poured the rest down the sink. 3 was too many. I needed to think clearly. I opened a new document, started typing everything about 1999. Every detail. If Nora was going to tell my story, I'd tell it first, my way. If my children couldn't understand that sometimes doing the right thing costs you everything, then I'd failed to teach them the most important lesson anyway. Sophie put her hand on my shoulder. "Dad, you sacrificed your job to do the right thing. Now you're doing it again. That's not corruption, that's consistency. The email says you'll be disappointed in me." The email is from a woman who slaps her own son and steals from her daughter-in-law. She turned my laptop toward me. "Look, public opinion is decided. You're the hero. Tell the whole story. They'll understand." When had she become so strong? "Okay," I said. "Tomorrow morning, I call Portland Sentinel. Tell them everything." My phone buzzed. Text from unknown number. 48 hours starts now. I know you're with Sophie. I know you're planning something. Pay me, or I destroy you both. Oh, not even hiding anymore. I put the phone down, looked at Sophie. "Tomorrow morning, I'm calling Portland Sentinel and forwarding them this text. Blackmail is a crime in Oregon." She smiled. Fierce. "Tomorrow morning,
But tonight, let's watch her PR statement get torn apart. I'll make popcorn. We spent the next hour reading comments. Someone had edited the TikTok video to add dramatic music. Someone else created a bad business owner bingo card. For the first time in months, Sophie laughed, really laughed. At midnight, my laptop pinged. Email from Olivia. Arthur, Portland Sentinel, contacted me for an interview. They're doing a follow-up piece about systemic elder financial abuse in family businesses. Your fight is becoming a movement. A movement? Christ, I just wanted to save my daughter's cafe. I typed back, Olivia, I'm calling Sentinel tomorrow with a story about my own past. Can you connect me with the right reporter? Her response, already done. Martin Chen. Expect his call at 8 a.m. Portland loves comeback stories, especially ones about standing up to bullies. I closed the laptop. 46 hours until Nora's deadline. 8 hours until Martin Chen called. 1 week until the lawsuit hit the courts. I turned off the lights. Tomorrow, we'd tell Portland the truth. All of it. And we'd let Nora face the consequences of threatening the wrong man. Morning came with Martin Chen's phone call at exactly 8 a.m. I'd been awake since 6, rehearsing. How do you explain 25 years of buried history without sounding defensive? Turns out, you just tell the truth. Martin listened for 40 minutes without interrupting. When I finished, including Nora's blackmail demand and threatening text, there was silence. Then, Mr. Patterson, this isn't about corruption. This is about someone who sacrificed their career for fairness and is doing it again. Can you forward me that blackmail text? Oregon has strong anti-blackmail statutes. This woman just committed a felony. I forwarded them immediately. By noon, Martin had written his article. By 2 p.m., it was published. The Inspector's Principles, Arthur Patterson's 25-year fight for justice. Nora's blackmail attempt had backfired spectacularly. Instead of destroying my credibility, she'd given me a platform to explain exactly why I fought so hard, and she'd committed a crime doing it. The article included quotes from the restaurant owners I defended in 1999. Martin had tracked them down. They were still running their business, grateful. It included the blackmail texts, with Nora's identity revealed through reporter investigation. Oregon State Bar received a complaint about the extortion. By evening, Nora's lawyer, her third, quit. Richard Donovan had left after the confrontation. The second lasted 1 day after learning about the blackmail. The third sent one aggressive cease and desist letter, then withdrew when he read Martin's article. Ms. Foster, did you send extortion demands? Because if you did, I'm withdrawing immediately. I don't represent criminals. 2 days later, Elena filed the official lawsuit. Patterson versus Foster. Multnomah County, Court. Fraud, coercion, theft by deception. Court date, 1 week. That afternoon, I walked past a Bank of America branch, saw Nora at the ATM. She tried to withdraw cash. Screen said, transaction denied, limit exceeded. She tried again, denied. Her hands shook. She leaned her forehead against the machine. Her shoulders shook, crying. For a moment, I saw not the villain, but a desperate woman who'd gambled everything and lost. Then I remembered Sophie scrubbing bathroom floors while crying. The pity faded. I walked away. That night, Sophie got a text from Tyler. I'm sorry for everything. Tell your father he won. We're leaving Portland. Don't look for us. The next morning, we arrived at court for the hearing. Nora and Tyler didn't show. The bailiff confirmed. No contact, no lawyer, no response. Elena requested a warrant for Nora's arrest. We drove to her apartment. Neighbors said they'd seen them loading a car with suitcases around 2 a.m. The apartment was empty, lease unpaid. Nora Foster had fled. 2 days later, Sophie returned to morning roast for the first time as undisputed owner. Elena had gotten an emergency order preventing Nora from accessing the property. We unlocked the door. Me, Sophie, Finn, who'd flown in from Berlin, and Elena. The register was empty. Nora had stolen the cash. Inventory decimated. Bills piled on the counter. Utilities, suppliers, rent. A note taped to the espresso machine in Nora's handwriting. This could have been successful if you just stayed out of the way. You ruined everything. Oh, Finn read it, started laughing.
She stole your business, embezzled money, committed fraud and blackmail, and we ruined everything." Sophie took the note, folded it carefully, put it in her pocket. "I'm framing this. The last words of Nora Foster, still managing to be the victim while fleeing the state." Elena spread documents across a table. "With the default judgment, which we'll get since they fled, Sophie owns the cafe, free and clear. But she inherits all the debts Nora created." "How much?" Sophie asked. "Total liabilities approximately $70,000. Assets maybe $30,000. Net position $40,000 in debt." Finn cleared his throat. "I have $40,000 in savings. It's yours." "Finn, no, not negotiable. Dad gave you $85,000 to start this place. I'm giving you $40,000 to save it. We're family." The bell above the door jingled. A woman in her 60s walked in. "I heard on the news. Is this place open? Are you Sophie?" "We're not officially open yet, but I'm making coffee." "I would love some." She pulled out a folded check. "This is from my book club. We want to help." She handed Sophie a check for $800. More people started arriving, some wanting coffee, most bringing donations, flowers, gift cards, cash. One man brought a toolbox. "I'm a plumber. Heard you might need repairs. No charge." By noon, we'd collected $6,000. By evening, $12,000. Volunteers scrubbing floors, painting walls, fixing hinges. Finn posted photos to Instagram. #MorningRoast is rising from the ashes. Community support is incredible. 2,000 likes. That night, back at my apartment, I poured one whiskey. Celebratory. Sophie was asleep on my couch, exhausted but smiling. Finn was on the phone with his partner, laughing. My phone buzzed. Email from Elena. "Court date rescheduled for next month. Filing for default judgment. Should be straightforward. However, there's one complication about the property deed. Call me in the morning." A complication, of course, because nothing in this nightmare had been simple. But I'd learned something. Complications can be overcome. Villains can be defeated. Justice sometimes actually wins. And family, real family, is worth any price. I closed the laptop, drank the whiskey, turned off the lights. 1 month until the court date. 1 month until this nightmare was officially over. Unless Elena's complication turned out to be another battle. I'd find out tomorrow. Tonight, I was going to sleep well because my daughter was safe, her business was saved, and Nora Foster was gone. That was enough. The complication turned out to be simple and devastating. Nora had cleaned out the cash register before fleeing. $15,000. Community donations deposited as cash. Money Sophie needed for suppliers. Security footage showed her entering at 1 a.m. She still had keys. Theft. Stupid, desperate theft. I filed the police report at 8 a.m. Detective Morrison was unsurprised. Fleeing suspects grab whatever liquid assets they can. We've issued warrants. Warrants don't pay suppliers. By noon, I had a lead. Danny called with a new lead. "You sitting down?" My buddy at PDX Airport Security ran the names. Nora Foster bought a one-way ticket to Las Vegas yesterday morning, Southwest, departed 6 p.m. Tyler was on the same flight. Las Vegas, of course, the city where desperate people gamble their last dollars hoping for miracles. We flew out the next day, me, Finn, Sophie. Detective Morrison provided Nora's credit card trail. Motel 6, East Tropicana Avenue, 2 miles from the Strip. Not the glamorous casino hotels, the kind of place where people hide when they've run out of everything. We arrived mid-afternoon. Nevada heat hit like a wall, 105 degrees, merciless. The motel was sun-bleached pink stucco, cracked asphalt. Nora's rental car sat in spot 47, room 128, ground floor, curtains drawn. I knocked. Silence. Knocked again. "Nora, it's Arthur Patterson. We need to talk."
"I don't care. I'm filing for divorce. I want you out of my life completely." "Sophie, please. We're done. Forever. You don't get redemption. You don't get forgiveness. You get to live with what you did." A knock on the door. Las Vegas PD. I'd called them before we entered. "Nora Foster?" Nora stood slowly. "That's me." You're under arrest on warrants from Portland, Oregon, felony theft, fraud, and embezzlement." She extended her wrists, got handcuffed, looked at me one last time. "Did you really need to chase me to Las Vegas? Couldn't you just let me disappear? You stole $15,000 from community donations meant to help my daughter." "No," she was let out. "You know what the funny part is? I almost respect you. You're as ruthless as I am. You just have better PR. The difference is I fight for my family. You fight for yourself." We stood in the parking lot afterward, watching the police cruiser pull onto Tropicana Avenue. Tyler remained by the motel room, not arrested, no proof he knew about the theft, but destroyed anyway. He looked at Sophie, mouth opening. She turned away, walked to our rental car without looking back. That was the moment of defeat, not the handcuffs, the turn back. Finn put his hand on my shoulder. "Come on, Dad. Let's take Sophie home." We flew back that night, landed in Portland at 11 p.m., drove through dark streets to Morning Roast. The cafe sat empty, temporarily closed sign in the window. "I need to see inside," Sophie said. We unlocked the door. The interior smelled stale, most inventory gone. Nora had taken it when she cleaned the register. Sophie picked up envelopes from the counter, bills, unpaid suppliers, final notices, started opening them. Her expression never changed, but I watched the light dim with each envelope. "Dad," her voice was small, "it's worse than I thought." "How bad?" She spread bills across the counter. "With the stolen money, unpaid suppliers, legal fees, back rent, we owe $23,000 before we can even think about reopening." Finn spoke up. "I have the $40,000 I offered." "You already loaned money. I can't take more. And $40,000 barely gets us operational. It doesn't cover inventory, staff, insurance." She looked up at me, eyes filling with tears. "Dad, we won legally, but I lost everything anyway. Morning Roast is dead." I opened my mouth. Nothing came out. She was right. We defeated Nora, gotten justice, but justice doesn't pay bills. "Let's go home," I said finally. "We'll figure something out tomorrow." Driving away, watching Morning Roast disappear in the rearview mirror, I wondered what was there to figure out. We'd saved the cafe legally, but destroyed it financially. Maybe Nora had won after all. Back at my apartment at 1 a.m., Sophie went to bed exhausted. Finn made tea. Neither of us drank. "Dad," he said after a long silence, "what do we do now?" I didn't have an answer. For the first time in this entire nightmare, I genuinely didn't know. The next morning came too early. My phone buzzed. Missed calls, text messages, emails. Numbers I didn't recognize. First text: "Saw the news about Morning Roast. We want to help. Susan R." Second: "Read about Sophie. Attaching donation. Coffee's on us. Portland Foodies Group." More texts, more offers. By the end of the first week, my phone had 73 messages. Finn's had 42. News of Nora's arrest made the Portland Mercury, the Sentinel, every food blog, and Portland had decided to do what Portland does best: take care of its own. Olivia Price posted at 6 a.m., "Morning Roast needs our help. Sophie fought and won legally, but faces $23,000 debt from Nora's destruction. I'm starting a GoFundMe. Who's with me?" Within 2 hours, $8,000. Sophie read messages crying. "Dad, listen. We're a commercial kitchen. We'll donate 20 pounds of flour and 10 pounds of butter monthly for 6 months. And this, I'm a licensed electrician. I'll update the wiring. Free." "That's Portland," I said. "We take care of our own." Finn looked up from his phone. "There's a Facebook group, Save Morning Roast, 4,000 members organizing supply drives, volunteer shifts." By end of first week, $31,000, $8,000 more than needed. 6 weeks of renovation followed. Fresh paint from volunteers, new tables donated, equipment repairs at cost. Sophie's 8-year-old daughter Lily helped paint a mural. Stick figure woman holding a coffee cup like a shield. Mom the superhero. Reopening day, line around the block, local news coverage, Olivia documenting everything.
Sophie's apple cinnamon pie sold out in 20 minutes. 6 weeks after that, Nora's sentencing, Multnomah County Courthouse, orange jumpsuit, hair pulled back, no pearls, Judge Martinez. 18 months county jail plus $15,000 restitution. Before being led away, Nora asked permission to speak. Sophie, Mr. Patterson, I destroyed your family. I stole from you. Everything they said about me is true. I am exactly the villain everyone says I am. Her voice cracked. What I told you in Vegas was true. I wanted to matter again, and I destroyed your lives to get it. That's unforgivable. I'm not asking forgiveness. I'm just acknowledging what I did. For the first time, I'm telling the complete truth. I'm sorry. She looked at Sophie. Your cafe is beautiful. I saw photos online. You did that, not me. Everything good about Morning Roast was always you. Sophie stood, walked out without a word. Nora watched her go, nodded slowly. I understand. 1 month later, a letter arrived from Tyler, from jail. Unpaid child support from his first marriage. Sophie read it aloud. I'm not asking forgiveness. I'm writing to tell you I understand now. I wasn't just weak. I was complicit. I chose comfort over courage. I watched my mother hurt you and did nothing. That's cowardice. You deserve better. I signed the divorce papers. No contest. I hope Morning Roast succeeds. I won't contact you again. Tyler. She folded it, put it in a drawer, didn't respond. 2 weeks later, an envelope arrived. No return address. Eugene postmark. $5,000 check. Note from Tyler. Everything I could gather. She deserves this. T. I stared at it a long time, then forwarded it to Sophie without comment. She deposited it without comment. 6 months after reopening, Morning Roast thrived. Not wildly successful, but stable. I sat at my usual corner table most mornings. Newspaper, black coffee. Sophie behind the counter chatting with customers. Lily doing homework at a table. Finn video called weekly from Berlin. His photo hung on the cafe's family wall next to my vintage sanitation poster. Olivia came in twice weekly, writing a book about Portland's food community. Morning Roast featured prominently. Tyler sent child support payments on time, never with notes, just checks. Sophie deposited them without comment. Nora still had 8 months left. Sophie never visited, didn't plan to. Nora wrote letters occasionally. Sophie didn't open them. Kept them in a drawer, not for closure, just because throwing them away felt like caring enough to make the effort. The cafe was Sophie's, fully hers. No one could take that away. It wasn't the life she'd imagined when I first gave her the keys. It was harder, more complicated, built on rubble and community goodwill, but it was hers. One Saturday morning, someone asked me, was it worth it, all that fighting? I looked at my daughter, smiled slightly. Ask me in 10 years, because that's the truth. Victory isn't a moment, it's what you build after. Finn appeared on video call at the bar. Dad, you know what's funny? Nora thought an old inspector would be easy. She forgot. I spent 35 years shutting down establishments that thought they were smarter than the rules. Ha! That's the most you've ever sounded like a movie hero. Heroes don't exist, Finn. Just stubborn old men who refuse to let bullies win. Dad, Sophie called from the counter. Order up. Your cinnamon roll is ready. I walked over. She watched nervously. I bit into it, chewed, swallowed. Well? Perfect. Just like everything else you do. She smiled, really smiled, the kind that's been missing for months. That right there, that's the victory. Not the legal judgments, not Nora in prison, not the money raised, just my daughter smiling making cinnamon rolls in her own cafe. I'm 70 years old. My retirement savings are gone. My daughter's a divorced single mother running a cafe that almost destroyed her. But she's free. She's strong. She survived what tried to break her. The mountain air through the cafe door felt clean. I breathed it in. All of it.